let's review a film that Alan and I have both seen. It's called Heart Willie. This movie is a low budget horror film. When I say low budget, this film was shot in 10 days in Mexico and under dire
Extreme
circumstances.
circumstances. Yeah.
Yes. And I'll start off the bat. I like cheap horror. We're about to interview Lloyd Kaufman on the channel. I love trauma movies. I like The Toxic Avenger. John Carpenter's Halloween is a classic. There are very good slasher movies, which is about 10% of all the slasher movies. And 90% are cheap ripoffs that don't understand what makes a good slasher movie. And part of that is establishing characters you like. We meet 4 characters, 2 couples who they're YouTubers, right? The basic story is they're YouTubers going to a house that may be haunted, maybe murders took place there. I don't know. These are the most unlikable foursome I've ever seen. There's some homeless guy in this place that is harassing them. They're a bit scared. Strange things are afoot. And there is a killer dressed up like a murderous version of Mickey Mouse trying to kill people and torture people. And how this was made is because the movie Steamboat Willie, owned by Disney, is now in the public domain. That's the only reason this movie was made. And we've seen other movies like this. Pooh, Blood, and Honey. The only good one, the Neverland, the Peter Pan horror movie we reviewed a few weeks ago. There's only one that's been decent, and that's Pooh, Blood, and Honey Part 2, which was actually very funny. Really went for it. This has, even in spite of the fact that it's very violent, this person dressed as Mickey tortures people, chopping off limbs and then keeping the people alive, dressed in a bloody Mickey Mouse mask. He's been scarred all over his body, whoever this person is. And there's even nudity, which might bump it up a notch for me. But let me just say, and the movie is really short. It's like 70 minutes. And then there's a 20-minute making of to pad the running time of the show times to 90 minutes. And I don't know what to say, except I'll just be blunt. 0.0, one of the worst movies I've seen this, probably the worst film I've seen this year thus far. And we've seen some bad ones. I even am the type of person that kind of likes a good low budget horror. And this was god awful. It was torturous, not just for the characters in the movie, which I don't care about any of them. It was torturous for me to watch. And it was cruel. No sense of humor whatsoever. Thought it was clever in certain spots. It used footage from Steamboat Willie in the movie randomly for no reason. It's god awful. The only thing good about this movie is the poster. Other than that, worst film of the year so far, a 0 from me. Alan, your thoughts? And Alan's a Disney fan. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I don't understand the connection with Steamboat Willie with this one. According to the film, there's this killer called Mouse Boy, which you see here in the poster. And Mouse Boy, his exploits back 100 years ago, inspired Walt Disney to make the movie Steamboat Willie. I mean, if you're gonna take an IP, you're gonna parody it, you're gonna make a horror film about it. Find some connection with that IP, other than putting a Mickey Mouse mask on, and it's not that they showed images of Steamboat Willie. They redrew and reanimated it to make it more of a horror feel. But in terms of, well, why is Willie doing this? Why is he doing that? What does that have to do with the movie Steamboat Willie?
Alan, You're phasing out. Please repeat your last sentence.
The issue I have here is this is pure IP exploitation. They're just taking the fact that Steamboat Willie is available doesn't mean it should mean that you include it somehow in your story, and this one fails to do it. It is bad, but nice boobs, and there
was boobs in the movie.
Yeah,
there was boobs.
Very nice, and the girls were hot, and look,
even that didn't work for me. There was like it's not enough. I have to like the characters. There is no one likable in this.
Yeah, my issue is look, I'm not into horror. I think if this was a slasher film, maybe I'd like it more, but this is more of a torture film.
It is that is my least favorite horror genre. Torture. It is pure torture porn, and it's not clever. It's not even, there are likable horror icons. Michael Myers, Freddy. There are likable horror icons. Even Art the Clown more recently is kind of, it's gruesome, horrific, but there's something clever and likable about it. There is nothing in this. And I guarantee there'll be a sequel.
Yeah. The last thing is the things Willie does should have meaning and reason. I never got the reason for it. You walk into his lair. There are knives on strings hung from the ceiling. Why? What is that? You're not going to get killed from it. You're not even going to get a cut from these things. But why is it there other than to look creepy? He likes to do things to people's bodies. Why? I don't get the sense that he's just in it for the pleasure. There's an allusion to what he does with it, but why? And so it just felt like, look, when you watch the making of how this movie got made was the producers already had another movie funded. They found out that Steamboat Willie was now in the public domain, and they stopped production. Yeah, and wrote a brand new movie, and this is that movie. Which then also, as you watch it, you realize never make an indie movie in Mexico, because at one point the second AD. They had to stop production because the federales came in because they thought the second AD was a cartel member. And
I'll just say this: that 20-minute making of at the end of the film is better than the film. It was funny. It was like that. It was like, oh, that's totally making making indie films like that. The making of gets a 5 out of 10.
It would make it great. It would make a great horror film, that making of movie.
Yeah. But the movie itself, 0 out of 10. It was awful.